Hi there and welcome to Personal Statement Planet. In this video we are going to deal with one of the big questions when it comes to personal statements, which is just how original should my personal statement be? And I get it, because on the one hand you keep getting told things like you've got to make sure you stand out, your first paragraph's got to grab the reader's attention, you've got to make sure that it's unique and that you tell your own story and that they see you as a person when they read it. And that's fine. But you're also being told, like 10 minutes later, but it's got to have a formal tone, it's got to be academic, you've got to make sure you include 400 different things. And it's really difficult sometimes to get to grips with where to balance your personal statement. Like, should it be informal and jokey? Should it be so academically formal that we lose a sense of who you are? No to both of those, but how do you get to the middle ground? How do you come to a compromise in a personal statement where it actually is personal, but it's what someone's looking for? That's what this video is all about. Check out the resources and the links in the description below. Like and subscribe if you feel that you can. And let's get into it. So when we're thinking about how original a personal statement should be, it's worth bearing in mind a couple of things from the get-go. First of all, it's got to be completely original to you. It is not the case that you should be copying material from anyone else's personal statement. You've got to write your personal statement yourself. Yes, by all means get some help. By all means talk to a wide range of people. Absolutely get input on your personal statement, but it's got to be original and you have to be responsible for writing it. You're the one submitting it, and platforms like Common App and UCAS, they've all got really powerful plagiarism software, and if you just copy someone else's personal statement, they will catch you. So yes, it's got to be original. But this video really is kind of about how do we plan and structure and prepare a personal statement? How do we deliver a personal statement that is completely original, that hasn't been written before, that fits the style, and most importantly, that shows off you as an individual candidate with all of your strengths and all of your goals and ambitions and skills, and also, let's be honest, with your limitations as well, because that's all part of it. So that's what we're trying to deal with here. The first thing we're going to think about is how to prioritize your achievements. This is one of the things that absolutely makes an original and personal statement. It's the order in which you include things. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that you start at the end and work backwards or anything crazy. I just mean that depending on who you are, depending on the kind of course you're applying for, those things are going to kind of influence the order in which you write about stuff. And if you're at a school or a college or something, quite often your tutors, your personal kind of tutors and teachers will all be like, write it in this order. Put an introduction, then put your academic skills, then put your personal skills, then put your transferable skills, do 2 lines on hobbies, and then say why you want to study that subject. But one size doesn't fit all. So I'm going to run you through 3 different approaches to structure that will all make a really original personal statement. So here's paragraph structure 1. Here's the first one we're going to do. And it's going to go in roughly this order. You're going to outline your academic achievements, first of all. What have you gained? What have you achieved academically? What do you know? What's your knowledge? Then we're going to talk about wider reading and research. So we're going from the talk curriculum to beyond the talk curriculum. And then we're going to go to work shadowing, and we're going to think about how perhaps you have applied some of that knowledge, how you have come to know about the industry that you're interested in. And then lastly, we're going to go to volunteering, and we'll talk about some of the transferable skills that you might have got from that, but it's probably the least important. Why? Well, because this is going to be for someone who is really quite academically focused. They're going to be someone who's highly invested in research and for whom learning and academics are a genuine passion. They're going to be for someone who is pretty dynamic, pretty independent, a self-starter, an independent learner with strong study skills. And it's probably going to be the kind of person that already is considering postgraduate study, or at the very least has potential for that. If you're that kind of person, if you're that highly academic, very driven person, someone who's approaching the study of a very academic subject, perhaps for a number of years, then that kind of structure for your personal statement is going to make it quite original and going to really suit you. However, that may not be everybody. Well, we know it isn't everybody, right? And that may not suit you at all. So here's number 2. We're going to start with work shadowing. Okay, we're going to give work shadowing some importance because maybe you're the kind of person who really likes putting into practice the kind of things you know. Then we're going to go to wider reading and research. Then we're going to go to volunteering because volunteering might be really important for you. And then at the end, we might just segue into your academic achievements. Why would we do that? Well, maybe you're a pretty engaged and energetic academic student. You've got a real interest in putting theory into practice. Maybe you've got a potential mix of learning styles. Maybe you quite like working with other people. Maybe you're quite sociable. Maybe you're kind of quite philanthropic. Maybe you're socially minded. Maybe you're the kind of person that believes that you learn by doing as much as you learn by reading, and that you want to demonstrate the value of your practical experiences. Now that person is very different from the first person, the first example. And if we were writing the same personal statement for both of those people, it just wouldn't work. It doesn't have the same feeling to it. Having said all of that, let's try number 3. And we're going to begin with volunteering. You're going to outline all of those extra elements that you've done that are really relevant to your application. And then we're going to take it up a gear and go to work shadowing. So we're going from a kind of practical base in volunteering to a practical base in terms of work and subject skills. Then we're going to go to our academic achievements, and then we're going to go to our wider reading and research, because possibly those last 2 elements are of less importance to this candidate than the volunteering and the work shadowing. What kind of person might this be? Well, this might be for someone who really values the benefits of community and personal connections, someone who's vocationally minded. Maybe they've got a focus on developing networks. Maybe they're really good at applying their kind of knowledge in a practical sense. Maybe they're a bit less invested in academics, a bit less invested in research, and more interested in applying their skills in a practical context. And you can see, I hope, that those 3 simple structures, just taking the same 4 elements and moving them around a little bit, they completely change the feel for each of those applicants. It's really important too that you understand that this is not about judgment in any way. All 3 of those applicants, all 3 of those structures, all 3 original personal statements, they're all as valid as one another. In fact, they're more valid than someone else's because they're really clearly kind of detailed and finessed to the strengths and ambitions of the person that's writing them. Not everybody is cut out to be a professor. Not everybody is cut out to be an archaeologist. Not everybody is cut out to be a food technician. You know, whatever your goals or ambitions are, try and find a structure in your personal statement that prioritizes what you believe to be the important skills and the important experiences that you've had. The second thing that we're going to think about in this video is evidencing your unique qualities, because when we're talking about an original personal statement, why wouldn't we want to celebrate and outline the value of the things that make each one of us unique and special? You are the only person that's lived your life, and you're the only person that's applying to university or applying for a job that's got your experiences and your skills and your wisdom. You may not think all of those things are particularly valid, but they absolutely are, and it's absolutely the case that an employer or an admissions tutor somewhere is looking for exactly what you have to offer. So whatever kind of structure you're using, whatever kind of application you're making, try and include 1 or 2 uniquely personal moments or aspects of your life. Not ones that don't have relevance, not ones that are pointless, not ones that go on for sentences and sentences, but just allowing the reader a little glimpse into your world, a little glimpse of who you really are, is critical. What do I mean? What am I getting at? Think about your favourite meal. Imagine you included a sentence in your personal statement about what your favourite meal was. Totally pointless. Nobody cares if you like fish and chips, pizza, spag bol, whatever it is. It doesn't matter, don't put it in. But maybe something about your favourite meal gave you an understanding of food sustainability, air miles and global economy, and you used that in a debate that you had at college. Maybe your favourite meal taught you some valuable lessons about recipes, chemistry, food preparation. Maybe your favourite meal suddenly gave you the colour palette for an art project which developed into a portfolio. It's really valuable if it's relevant. If it's not relevant, let it go. Last of all, we're going to think a little bit about using vocabulary that stands out in a positive way. There are some cliches when it comes to personal statements, and particularly personal statements that lack originality. And the cliches are passionate, love, fascinated, I also, I think, and team player. So maybe you are absolutely passionate about your horse. Maybe you are fascinated by equine studies, and that's what you're going to do. I'm delighted for you. Don't use the words passionate and fascinated. Maybe you love geology. I'm thrilled. Let's find another way of saying it. Okay? Because admissions tutors every day read words like passionate and fascinated and I love and all that. Here's the thing though. You still need to convey those ideas. You need to convey the thrill, the intensity of your feelings about something. Just don't necessarily use words that are unoriginal. So let's look at an unoriginal example. I would love to do archaeology because I am passionate about fossils. And I would love to go on a dig one day because it would be highly exciting. I work well in a group and also on my own because I am ambitious and fascinated to become an archaeologist one day. I love the idea of discovering something old that will change the world one day. I mean, I get it. I feel it coming off the page from that person. They are really engaged with their subject. They really love archaeology. They're really invested in the potential of archaeology to change the world. They're trying to show you that they're going to study on their own and they're going to work with a group and they're doing all the right things. It's just the words that they're using are not original. And if you want to write an original personal statement, you've got to take the same ideas but wrap them up in a bit more of a specific set of vocabulary. So here's the same ideas rewritten. Having attended a lecture series on the limited development of mammals during the Mesozoic era, my curiosity regarding their rise to dominance during the Cenozoic era led to my decision to volunteer at a local fossil dig. Reading scenes from prehistoric life, I became intrigued by the lessons to be learned from the past, and particularly by the ways in which carbon dating techniques have revolutionized our understanding of the impact of climate change at a global level. I mean, I get the feeling that this person is equally as invested in archaeology. They're equally as passionate and fascinated by it all. They probably work pretty well in a team. They definitely work pretty well on their own. But my goodness, there's a wealth of difference between the first example and the second example. The second example shows a tremendous amount of research, a really high level of knowledge for someone who's about to go into higher education, and a really strong set of evidences to do with practical engagement with the subject. So I'm not saying your personal statement's got to be that academically biased, but that feels right for that candidate. That's original for that candidate. You've got to find your own way of creating an original, personal statement. And don't be afraid to do it. So, just to recap, we've gone through 3 different ideas in this video. First of all, we thought a bit about the right way to prioritise your achievements and your suitability depending on the kind of course or the kind of subject that you're applying for. Then we thought a little bit about actually how do we make a personal statement unique? How do we include a unique example or something about us that's really special? And then lastly, we thought a little bit about the right kind of vocabulary to use to show that you have a really unique and original approach to your studies. I would reiterate one more time that the best way to make a personal statement original is not to copy from other sources. Do lots of reading. Read as many personal statements as you can. Look at as many examples within your subject or field of study as you can possibly lay your hands on. And there's quite a lot of stuff over at Personal Statement Planet, links down below. But don't copy. You will get caught and your application may well be denied. And nobody wants that because you're awesome and you deserve all the luck in the world. Thanks for watching. Do like and subscribe if you possibly can. Head over to personalstatementplanet.com. Good luck on your journey and I'll see you next time.